Joining me now is former Labor Senator Graham Richardson and former Speaker of the House Bronwyn Bishop. Great to see you both. Now, I've written in the next week's Spectator, my editorial says that the coalition can still win this election. We got a brilliant cover of Dutton sprinting up, getting ready to sprint up from behind and take the election. Can he do it, Bronwyn Bishop?
Well, yes, I think he can. But we need to see more of the passion we saw in the debate the other night. We need to spell out, this is what they've done to you. This is how we're going to save you. And that's the message to get across.
Richo, polls, more polls since last week showing a coalition not getting there. What do you think? Can Dutton win?
No, got Buckley's. I think Albo will win. And my own view is that the way things are going with the improvement in Albo's ratings, I think he'll get up on his own. I don't think he'll need anyone to help.
Well, that would certainly be a relief. The bigger relief would be if the Liberals won, in my opinion. Now, there we go. I'd rather see a majority Labor than those ghastly Greens and Teals having any influence on this country whatsoever, although Labor will drive us into the ditch, Richo. I hate to say that. Bronwyn, am I right? If we get a Labor government, are we in the ditch economically?
Yes, we are. I mean, I'm just fascinated with the way the Treasurer says all this money that they're spending, it's all in the budget. Well, there's a deficit of the budget of 40 billion, and presumably in the contingency fund there's 40 billion. That's where the money's being spent, or borrowed, or else new taxes, capital gains tax,
Absolutely. Now,
yes.
I want to talk to you both about Macquarie University, who have backflipped on. I want to talk about Indigenous things for a couple of minutes. Macquarie University have backflipped on what they were saying before, that acknowledgement of country was part of the legal training, your legal education. They still maintain that it is an authentic professional skill, reciting an acknowledgement of country, to contemporary legal practice, but they have backed down on it being, as important as they were saying before. Bronwyn?
So they should. But it does show that the Vice-Chancellor has responded to what was an outcry and an attempt to inculcate something that the people rejected when they voted no on the Voice. They don't want a divided country. They want to see us as a united country. And I think by putting this into a curriculum like that and enforcing it was just trying to overcome what the people had said. And I think the Vice-Chancellor...
Well, speaking of that, Richo, my biggest fear, or one of my many fears, if Labor do win government, they'll be cocky, they'll try and reinstitute the Voice through other means. One of those means will be some kind of commission similar to the UROC Commission down in Victoria. This is a commission that's been running for several years, which is supposedly all about truth-telling. But when some submissions, such as a series of books called The Whole Truth, which detail the really ugly side of what Indigenous life was like before colonialism, the UROC Commission aren't interested in that. They only want to hear their version of the truth. So is the danger, Richo, that if the Labor Party do get back in, that we're going to see all this sort of truth-telling, Makarrata stuff happening all over again under a different name?
Well, I hope not. I'd certainly be speaking out against it. I mean, I think there's only one truth. You stick with that. And I think, Albo's been pretty good at that thus far. I think the Voice for Albo was a mistake. He's entitled to one. He's had a pretty good run. But I don't think it's a mistake you make twice. You make it once, and once you've done it, then you walk away and you forget about it entirely. You cannot allow these things to hang around like a bad smell in a lift.
Well, let's hope that the UROC Commission do actually listen to all the truths, Bronwyn. The Whole Truth has some very ugly things about what actually happened, that Indigenous Australians were saved by the settlers coming along. And this is never taught and never acknowledged.
Well, that's true, Rowan, but not only that. You need to keep telling the story of what happened when the settlers did come, of the hardship they had in trying to feed the colony, of the innovations that people had, the stump plough so that they could get crops growing, how people who came from pretty hideous backgrounds themselves as convicts actually built a great society. And we welcomed in a joining together of both societies so that we are a single nation, not divided into what we think we might be entitled to by way of reparation and what other people feel they've built this nation and shared with the Indigenous people so that we are a single nation. And I agree with Richo what the Labor Party tried to do with the voice, if they try and do it by the backdoor method, there will be a hue and cry.
Well, I'll just read a little bit from The Whole Truth by Roger Pescott and Marita Punchin. With the arrival of British colonists came a new dawn. The number of women and children murdered within their own tribe and by neighbouring tribes dropped dramatically over the next century. London was watching closely to ensure that British law was applied equally to all. If you want to find out the real truth, read The Whole Truth. Go to thewholetruth.org, I think is the website. Thewholetruth.au, I'm sorry, is the website there. Worth reading. Now, quickly, Richo and Bronwyn, I want to ask you a question. Should Trump, basically, there's an article claiming that potentially Trump could look at bombing Iran. So I'm going to ask you both very briefly, without a whole lengthy story of the Middle East, should Trump be bombing Iran? Bronwyn.
Bombing is the default position if Trump can't negotiate a position with Iran that is not simply along the lines of the Obama solution, but something much tougher, which stops them building an atomic bomb, which would actually wipe out the Jewish population and the Palestinians would have from the river to the sea, then there is no option but his default position, which is force.
So that's a yes. He should bomb Iran if it comes to it, if it's necessary. Richard, I'll ask you the same question. Should Trump bomb Iran?
Definitely got to bomb them. I don't think Iran gives a damn about what a sort of decent world order should be. They don't care at all. They have their own views and they act in their own way. And they are bullies. Now, eventually, someone's got to call them out. And Trump's the sort of character is, I think, more than capable of doing that.
Richo, I agree with you both on that, and that's a yes from the three of us. So, Donald Trump, if you're listening, you've got some nods here from down under.